You're welcome to the Power Circuit, an informative program brought to you by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. Together, we stand against the vandalism of power infrastructure nationwide. Ensure you play a role by reporting suspected vandal acts in your community to the nearest security agency. Here are the top reports today. TCN appeals to state governments, communities on synergy to tackle power assets vandalism. Akwa Ibom State to partner TCN on curbing vandalism, addressing right-of-way issues. Power operators urged to commit to rules to improve grid management and market performance. Stakeholders resolved to improve on consumer protection mechanisms in the Nigerian power sector. You have been on this program with Amara Agugoesi, and this is the Power Circuit. The national electricity grid was recently disturbed after suspected vandals destroyed a 330 kilovolts transmission line tower in Akwa Ibom State. The management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, immediately took steps to address the situation. This report highlights the efforts of the TCN management led by the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Engineer Dr. Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz, as the officials inspected the site of the incident and met with stakeholders in the state towards collaborating to tackle such acts.
You can see it from here. That some of the tower members were removed. People will go and sell them for peanuts. So it's not a fault. We have evidence, the notes were removed, tower members were removed, and then they watched the tower to fall. And when it fell, it tripped the whole system. This is a very, very, very sad news. You can see this government is trying to make sure that all the infrastructure in this country, not only electricity, but roads, hospital, and other things are working well. But see what these people are doing. So by this, only one tower, which was brought down last Friday, the whole nation was put into darkness. The government cannot accept this. We must make sure that we take government property to be our own property. Nobody will safeguard our property. We have to make sure that it belongs to us and we safeguard it. We are appealing to the government of Akwa Ibom State to help us and work in partnership with us so that these things may not occur again.
Engineer Abdulaziz, who estimated the cost of fixing the vandalized tower, further appealed to Nigerians to be vigilant towards guarding against all acts of vandalism.
Well, it's not easy to quantify now because we are not sure even the foundation may be affected. We must have the cooperation of Nigerians. If somebody is going to vandalize your equipment, you will not know. You will not have a period knowledge. But we are appealing to Nigerians to behave sensibly and make sure that they don't destroy these equipments.
The TCN henchman, who also spoke on how operators in the power sector are tackling recurring system disturbances, said the company has intensified line clearance and other measures.
What we are doing in part of TCN, we make sure that we clear all the transmission line, especially 330, by trace clearance and normal cutting of all trees. And now make sure also our relay settings are okay and they are working properly. We are also talking to the generators who own the generating companies to make sure that they put their machines in order so that it will not affect the country as a whole.
In the meantime, Engineer Abdulaziz disclosed that the company has mobilized a contractor who has also been directed to fix the destroyed tower within 1 week to ensure seamless bulk power transmission on the 330 kV Ikotekpene to Calabar transmission line corridor.
We have a lot of losses. We have a power station here, which is generating almost 400 megawatts, a Duponi power station. We are not able to evacuate from that place. And if you put the megawatts in Naira, it's millions. If it takes 1 week or 2 weeks, it gets into billions of Naira. So a lot of money is waste, and there is going to be a lot of load shedding in the country. So a lot of people are going to spend some hours without light because of this singular act. We have already mobilized a contractor to work here, and we have given him just 1 week to make sure that this job is done.
On his part, the Executive Director, Transmission Service Provider at TCN, Engineer Victor Adewumi, said vandalism causes retrogression in the power infrastructure development.
There is no way this country can move forward If each time we take a step forward, we take 3 steps backward, how can we move? forward in that sense. Everybody needs power, and the way the national grid is that even the power from this generating station is servicing every part of Nigeria, because we are operating a singular grid. So you can see how callous people can be to deliberately remove tower members to bring this thing down. And I want to say it's not happening only in this area. It's happening almost everywhere in the country now. So even in Delta State, we have to quickly mobilize to fix about 10 towers in a row.
Also speaking, the regional transmission manager of the Port Harcourt region of TCN, Engineer Daniel Udofia, condemned the act of vandalism as he noted that the vandals affected Akwa Ibom and Cross River states and more.
Now, as it stands now, in Akwa Ibom state, we cannot get the supply we're supposed to get, just as my MD has said. Not in Akwa Ibom, Cross River is completely out, and the grid is seriously affected. It's a very serious and condemnable situation, which nobody should laugh at it. As an indigene of this state, I condemn this act seriously, and I'm really calling on every youth. There are people in this country that are looking for facilities like this. They cannot see it, and when we see it, we should protect it.
Also speaking to the press, the Akwa Ibom State Commissioner for Power and Petroleum Development Welfare, John Etim, assured that the state government was ready for synergy with TCN to tackle the situation.
Regarding the role of the state government in what is going on, our dear governor has as a number one focus the industrialization of the state. And without power, we cannot do that. We are aware of the vandalization of equipment that is going on, and we have engaged the House of Assembly in coming up with an enabling law to be able to deal with vandals wherever and whenever this is done.
To address the vandalism of power transmission lines in Akwa Ibom State and right-of-way issues, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, Engineer Dr. Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz, has led other officials on a courtesy visit to the Akwa Ibom State Commissioner for Power and Petroleum Development Welfare, Mr. John Etim, in Uyo, the state capital. Mr. Etim gave the assurance of the state government in partnering with TCN to tackle vandalism and right-of-way issues, which are on the front burner.
You have made a statement there, what the state government is trying to do so that all this type of vandalism will not continue. You have even mentioned that the State Assembly is coming out with a law so that all those people that are caught will be dealt with according to the law. So I want to tell you that as we, TCN, we cannot function if such things continue. Because anybody who tamper with our transmission lines, it means he doesn't want progress in this country. If there is no light, there is no progress. So what we want from you is your cooperation. Try and enlighten the people that government is spending a lot of money, a lot of investment on this infrastructure. So this infrastructure belongs to Nigerians. It doesn't belong to the head of state or to the governor. No, they belong to Nigerians. So it is our own property, and we're supposed to safeguard it. People who are into this vandalism, it's better for them to find other jobs to do. There are a lot of things to do in this country. So what we are asking from you is cooperation.
Speaking further, Engineer Abdulaziz appealed to the Akwa Ibom State government to cooperate with the company to intervene in power transmission lines right-of-way matters.
Secondly, apart from this, there is also the issue of way leave. We have ongoing projects in this state. Way leave issues, that is right of way, is one of the greatest problems our projects are facing. You will see that we have started a project for almost 10 years, but because of those issues, we cannot complete that project. We want the state government to join hands with TCN and help us to resolve those issues. Any way you can assist. These are the two things we want cooperation from you. Thank you.
The Executive Director, Transmission Service Provider, TCN, Engineer Victor Adewumi, also urged Akwa Ibom State Government to continue its support to TCN in the operation of the newly created Uyo Work Center.
Emmanuel Dom is a man of his word. This is the land of promise. We don't want it to be promise that is not fulfilled. So that's why I want to remind you that is about our Uyo Work Center. If you recall, Your Excellency, when we were about to create that work center, the governor promised that he's going to donate Hilos vehicle if that work center is created. We've created that work center now.
The Regional Transmission Manager of the Port Harcourt region of TCN, Engineer Daniel Udofia, also reiterated the need for TCN and the state government to have a joint sensitization program across the state.
We suggested to the governor that there is need for us to do a combined sensitization of the public, that if we do that, people will know, one, the danger to build under our transmission lines, two, the need to protect those transmission lines. And those 2 letters, we signed them and we ensure that the governor got those letters. I would humbly add that you know His Excellency on this. And someone told me that he equally had agreed that there should be a joint sensitization on those issues.
Responding, the Akwa Ibom State Commissioner for Power and Petroleum Development Welfare, John Etim, lauded the TCN team for committing to visit the state and for the synergy as he emphasized that power is crucial in raising standard of living.
We as government are doing as much as we can to cushion the effect, to reduce the incidence of vandalism and other vices. And that we have done by increasing surveillance, by being more proactive in the process, by being more strict, in fact, in punishment, because when vandals or other people that perpetrate this kind of criminal acts are caught in these states, we make efforts, we make sure that they face the full wrath of the law. We make sure that there are no underhandedness in handling those cases. We have also been sensitizing the public. For a while, we ran some jingles, which I think we have to do again, as my brother Udofia has mentioned. I think we have to come together as collaborators, both the government of Akwa Ibom State and TCN. And in fact, I will have to call the attention and seek the cooperation and collaboration of our partner, PHED, in sensitizing the people some more.
Speaking on the power lines right-of-way issues, he said the state government was doing more.
We are making efforts to send our Surveyor General with a team to talk to the people involved, to talk to the communities involved, to see that when TCN is trying to run a line, even with PHED trying to build an infrastructure, it is not for the government as an individual, it's not for those people in TCN or PHED, but it's for the collective development that will affect all the citizens of the state. So we are doing that, and we are going to do more. Between the security issues and right-of-way issues, we are also talking to the House of Assembly to come up with bills and enabling legislation that will help us, that will facilitate the achievement of our collective goal. About the vehicles, I am very aware of the request and the promise that was made, and I want to assure you that I will remind His Excellency about those promises.
More reports coming your way shortly. Don't go away.
Verify that land before you buy it. To drastically reduce the incidence of building under the transmission right-of-way, or encroaching on designated TCN land, members of the public are hereby requested to verify land near or along transmission line route before purchasing it. Verification should be made in the Land Development Authority or at the TCN office. This would help in drastically reducing the incidence of building under transmission line right-of-way and save us all the problem of pulling down the structure or truncating transmission line expansion projects in your community due to court injunction. Help us serve you better. Verify that land before you buy it.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, Engineer Dr. Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz, has tasked market participants in the Nigerian electricity market to commit to the grid code and other rules to raise the bar for national electricity grid management and performance scorecards.
Engineer Abdulaziz stated this at the Independent System Operator of TCN and Power Sector Operators Interactive Meeting on Grid Management and Market Performance, which was held in Abuja.
We all know that in its capacity as the system administrator, the Independent System Operator has a set of performance standards that are expected to be complied with by the market participants to enable it effectively operate the nation grid. However, for efficient and effective administration of the grid to be achieved, it is not only desirable but also necessary that there is a healthy synergy among major market participants, that's the GENCOs, DISCOs, and the TSP, Transmission Service Provider. Accordingly, we have all been formally invited to this roundtable to brainstorm on critical issues that will enhance grid management as well as the advancement of the industry.
The TCN head noted that although the operators have significantly improved on synergy, he however said there was still room for improvement, especially on rules compliance.
No doubt, there is need for everyone to be committed to the same rules, because a major snag in one area can work against performances in a major way that cannot be imagined. Evidently, there exist challenges in our daily operations, but we must find ways of surmounting them. After all, nothing good comes easy.
The Executive Director, Independent System Operations at TCN, Engineer Maman Lawal, commended the operators for the synergy towards overcoming challenges in the power sector.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our rules in the industry are inextricably woven around common object. The object of making sure that electric power is available to the customers. And we have wide-ranging customers. The way we have been operating, I must say, is commendable, in spite of the fact that we have had to go through some difficulties in the last couple of weeks. I think gradually we are surmounting the problem with your cooperation.
Engineer Lawal, who is also the system operator SO in the Nigerian electricity market, urged the participants to share understanding towards achieving set goals.
Our expectation is that we should be able to share understanding on these issues, chart a way forward, so that we can walk through the critical parts to grid management, to market performance. It's gratifying that we have this number in attendance. We expect this level of attendance will be sustained all through the days that we'll have to meet.
As the meeting progressed during the technical session, the participants continued deliberations on corporate planning, grid operations, and electricity market performance. Responding to some of the observations, the Executive Director, Transmission Service Provider TCN, Engineer Victor Adewumi, said every participant should work towards satisfying electricity consumers through the distribution load centers.
If all of us agree that we are after the same objective, which is to serve the customers, I don't think we have any problem. Because either you are generation, you are transmission, distribution, is one objective, is to make the customers happy. And as long as the customers is hungry, all of us along the value chain are to be blamed for it. So if we all have that one in mind, this thing we call relay coordination shouldn't be a problem. As a matter of fact, all our regional managers have been given directive to hold meetings with you from time to time and give you any information you want.
At the end of the two-day technical and interactive session, the power sector operators and participants resolved to leverage on synergy to set new milestones on electric power supply to consumers in Nigeria.
Stakeholders in the Nigerian electricity supply industry have strengthened resolve to improve on the implementation of consumer protection mechanisms to promote efficient services.
Towards effective implementation of the consumer protection components of the Electric Power Sector Reform Act, officials of the National Power Training Institute of Nigeria, NAPTIN, collaborated with the Association for Public Policy Analysis, APPA, to sensitize members of the public on consumer protection in the sector.
I think there couldn't have been a better time, to have, this important workshop. Consumer rights, consumer protection is very, very key because they constitute a very big stakeholder within the Nigerian power sector. I've always said, that consumers need to be aware of their civic rights, but at the same time, they need to be aware of their civic responsibilities. That is my own, in any country, especially in the developing economies, these are very, very, very important.
Presenting a paper, the national president of APPA, Comrade Prince Will Okorie, held that consumer protection is crucial in service delivery as well as promoting safety and standards in the power sector. Okorie said the forum was to sensitize consumers to know some of the prevalent unfair business practices.
But the question is, do the consumer know this unfair business practice? Does any consumer have an idea of what constitutes business practice, unfair business practice, and how it can be prevented? This is one of the key reasons for this training that is being proposed, so that the average consumer, wherever they are, will know the billing system, the metering system, will know the complaint management mechanism, know how to present your complaints. Now, mass metering policy is out there. Do the average consumer at the community level know how to access this meter?
Regulation means that you set up rules. It's key, and you follow those rules almost strictly. For every customer who is enlightened, you understand, which is the key to this conference or to this meeting, they know how to go about fighting for their rights, and they get redress.
Various participants spoke on the various aspects of consumer protection and industry issues.
As we wrap up, get the top gist again. TCN appeals to state governments, communities on synergy to tackle power assets vandalism. Akwa Ibom State to partner TCN on curbing vandalism, addressing right-of-way issues. Power operators urged to commit to rules to improve grid management and market performance. And we told you that a cross-section of stakeholders have resolved to improve on consumer protection mechanisms in the Nigerian power sector. Let's see you more on the TCN YouTube channel to view this episode and all others. We've got these platforms too to take feedback from you as we sustain the transmission of electricity in the most efficient and effective manner. Vandalism is a destroyer of national development efforts. Say no to vandalism. Protect power infrastructure around you. Report all suspected acts of vandalism to the nearest security agency. While you do this, just keep up with the power circuits. I am Amara Agogoisi. Thanks for watching.